Assassination Classroom, episode 1. It's a long time coming, this show. I know a little bit about the premise. I know this is not a normal school. The sullenness... the sullenness is just like school. It's really a terrible idea for me to watch a show about school, but here we go. Something just approached from the heavens. And slithered in? Oh. That's not what I was expecting as a teacher. I like him already, because he's smiling. Yeah, this school's a little more interesting than my school. Shoot your teacher. But like, you're supposed to? Just can't touch him. Tired from all that shooting. So they're shooting BBs, right? I mean, I feel like there was nothing else they could have done. They all just shot a million rounds in the same direction in multiple places, and he was able to dodge all of them. He's not at max speed. Already, one similarity with another great teacher, not that great teacher, but All Might, the importance of having a smile on your face. Also, questions about what is their max ability. Yeah, at that point it's not dodging, it's something else. I think this calls for a demonstration. Very fragile. Okay. This is a fun class already. Real hands-on experience, or hands-off experience. Alright, that's an evil laugh that I'm going to take to mean great anticipation for what his students are capable of. Oh, look at this, we get a dance number already. Oh god, more names. What is the point of this school? They want to learn how to assassinate him, maybe because his breed of alien are coming to invade and they have to prepare or something like that. Hard not to compare this to My Hero Academia because it's a class of students preparing for combat. And also, we're already having the school festival in the opening. They're being prepared for something real. This might sound trite, but that, I think, is what was missing from a lot of my classes as a kid. This is not necessarily a criticism, because depending on the discipline, sometimes there's no clear way to do that, and you just kind of have to brute force the fundamentals. This comes up in Haikyuu, and even in the movie I recently watched, with this split approach of once you master the basics, you can start to have fun, versus once you start to have fun, it's easy to master the basics. Where I think Haikyuu's answer is something like, all of that are strategies, and all of that is important. There's an underlying thread of spirit you can have, which will make that fall into place naturally as long as you keep going along the path. But in a lot of cases for me, I felt like there was so much magic to the things I was learning, and there was no effort for that to come across or to take life. I'm an economics major, and I think economics is so important and so interesting. It took me a long time to get there, and sort of despite my education in it, things have a way of becoming really interesting when you have stakes, when you can see your connection to them. And a good teacher, though not always possible, and not the only approach, knows how to establish that. There's so many cool things about it already, even the simplicity of the task and the ability to immediately see in practical terms where you are in that ability to complete the task. I'm sure everyone has the experience of being interested in a certain skill, watching 100 hours of YouTube videos on it, or going to school for 4 years, then getting into the thing and realizing that even though you have a degree now and you are very good at doing your coursework for the thing, you actually have no idea how to do the thing. And also, there's a Pareto principle that applies to doing the thing. So like, there's 20% of the knowledge that goes into 80% of the work, or maybe even more skewed. But perhaps the course you took or the videos you watched didn't quite map to the specific, most important skills, of which if you really know how to do, the other stuff may fall into place naturally as you come across different obstacles. He has anchored it to a real thing that they have tried. They know exactly where they stand. And the final thing is, he doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. He has skin in the game too as a teacher, and he knows his stuff clearly. English is very important for assassins. All the Americans we gotta kill. Or kill for. Yeah, there is a backstory here. They're in their third year. Huh. What were the first 2 years like? There's gotta be something they're preparing for. Okay. Third impact. On the moon. Someone fired a shot. I think there are other problems than the visuals. Oh, you did it! Speaking of walking the walk, he is the threat. No, that makes me think there's a bigger threat. Well, no one can kill him. They could probably do whatever he wants. We can't kill him, so we've decided to let him help us. Was it an assassin school before, or a regular school before? Is this the start of their specialty? They've all majored in assassination now, because of the government? A what? He's not an alien. He's going to deal with that discrimination his whole life. No one's going to understand that. He can't explain it to everyone. And who knows if that's all there is either. Oh no! Please don't groom my eyebrows. My biggest fear. All of your eyebrows and hairstyles will be improved. I get the sense that they can't kill him. This is just his life. This life is just dodging bullets effortlessly. And it's gotta be so easy to him. Not just easy, but so easy that he has zero fear. We are literally ants to him. $100 million? Or, I mean, these days, a lot less. Unlike Look Back, you actually could buy a house with that. You could buy a housing industry. I was wondering about colors. Oh, he can fly. Oh, he flew in to class, as one does. Likes things clean and immaculate. That's actually really clever as a premise. It makes sense why they could just shoot in the classroom repeatedly. Very interesting premise with real stakes. I like it. Why are we learning English then? Maybe his species speaks English. English is the dominant language of the universe. He's already eating mapo tofu in China. He's one of those teachers that draws on your paper. Oh, he really cares. 1A, this is not. Yeah, that's odd. That is odd. In what way? Look at these kids taking an interest in this subject, doing extracurriculars. This is your goal, but it won't work, obviously. They're misfits. This has got to be deliberate, though. It's possible they're all being separated and treated like scum, as he put it, as a bonding exercise. Hazing is a controversial practice, but that, I think, is the utility of it. Once you go through hardship with someone and come out of it, you create a common identity and common understanding and respect that can't easily be recreated. If you go to hell and back with someone and can make it out not loathing them, then you're probably going to be best friends. There's also a lot of power in the us against the world mentality. There's no lifeline. There's no looking out. So you look in and you look to each other. No one's coming to save us. No one's coming to help us. Burn the boats. It's forward or nothing. It's us against the world. Him? I thought Nagisa was the girl. You're not great unless somebody hates you. Right. It does feel a little bit lonely. So Nagisa feels very powerless. I don't know if that's true. I don't know this teacher very well. I don't know the show very well, but I think he sees a lot more than his smiling face lets on. And I think he's walking a pretty noble path. I'm very curious what this is. Why all this? This actually runs counter to what I was saying early on about how a good teacher does the hands-on stuff. I know there's a meaning here. I know there's a point to all this. But at this point, it feels very Mr. Miyagi. Why am I waxing fences instead of kicking people in the face with the crane style? Good teacher. Just do the work. Clear your task. Embarrassment? Shyness? Sleepiness?
昼食の後で僕らが眠くなる頃に先生の顔が薄いピンクになる時がある。
After lunch sloth color.
やればできると。
Oh, you just announced that. You telegraphed that. So bad.
どんな手を使っても。
Oh, that was just a decoy. Is it a BB grenade? Actually pretty clever. No regard for Nagisa. He definitely got blown the hell back. Teacher protected him. They got close though. At least I unlocked a new ability. It's either great work or you should have had more regard for your classmate, or both. Nah, I'm proud of you. He's back. Yeah, there's no escape. That's pretty clear. Okay, good. I was waiting for that. Yeah, right. My warm heart, my biggest weakness. Okay, that's what I expected, yeah. Unacceptable. It's definitely going to end up being a collaborative effort. There's obviously a lot he's not letting on. I mean, I think there are signs that the teacher really, really loves humanity. And that's kind of striking given the fact that he probably hasn't been treated very well by a lot of humanity. But, I mean, he's a man of humanity's culture. I can tell he really cares about the students. I don't know how strong he is, but I imagine he's under a lot of pressure. The threat seems very real, and yet he doesn't let that affect his behavior or treatment of them. He could probably do anything he wanted, and he's here, you know? What a sentence. And he believes in them.
この異常な教育が僕は普通に嬉しかった。この異常な先生は僕らのことを正面から見てくれたから。
Right. Back to the earlier question from Haikyuu about methodology. There is that question of what is the best approach technically. But there's a quality that supersedes that, which is a hard to pin down mixture of drive and intent and maybe clarity of goal. And for this teacher, the main point I'm getting already from him is that he just really cares about the students and knows why he's here and knows what they need to be able to do. Those two things in tandem, I think, will make the rest kind of clear. In my 4 years or so teaching, I think those things are probably the biggest differentiator of what makes someone a good teacher or not. There's a very wide range of methodologies, which gets even more complicated by a difference in fields and what is accessible as a teacher or a student. But teachers who really care about students and their output and know what that output is supposed to be and know what output is going to be most useful, what is the actual goal for them, and I really want them to achieve that goal, will do what they need to do, which may be very adaptive even, to get the students there. I think I've gotten this lesson from students like Deku and Hinata and other characters in Haikyuu. Here, I think we're getting it from the teacher. Though come to think of it, that also is present in both My Hero Academia and Haikyuu. A lot of teachers, sadly, actually detest their students and detest the job and see it as an exercise of punishment and exerting authority, etc., etc. Oh, here's maybe the human connection. A little bit of Shape of Water going on here. There. Hard for me to believe he'll be the one. Oh, you have a bloodlust. Okay, you're gonna be a great student. That's all you need to say. That's just as good as the 10 million yen if I'm a kid. You think it's simple, Nagisa, don't you? You think it's gonna be a simple thing? You're gonna get so much more than the target and a little bit of vacation and yen. It's stuck. Why is this so wholesome? This like wholesome sort of FLCL music overlaid ending about killing your teacher. Odd. It's fun. Fun premise. This is going to be a very heartfelt show, isn't it? Like, I think it's one of those things that you might be fooled initially and thinking that it's just kind of a silly thing and we're killing our teacher. It's this big smiley face looking alien thing and it's over the top and we're all shooting guns in the classroom. But I can see enough of the teacher and his heart that also in the kids and their expectations and how raw they are as teenagers and the fact that he cares about them. And it's a lot. I think it's going to be fun. I remember 2. Is this the best next episode preview screen? Or is it the best one? No Taisho era secrets, no forced witty banner about food, no Nen facts, just the number 2. We will be watching the second episode. I honestly didn't like being a teacher very much. It's not a good fit for me, as much as I like having a captive audience that is forced to pay attention to me. But there was a major turning point I had early in my career when actually it was a colleague of mine made a big speech about how, yeah, this is a job. Yeah, there's some aspects of it that are unglamorous and ungratifying, but these are real kids. These are real people. And if we're going to do it, we owe it to them to give our best for them. And that sort of solidified it for me. And yeah, there's a little bit of a resistance because the more you care, the harder it gets because you're just forced to do more. You're forced to change what you're doing in certain ways. You're forced to pay attention to what's working and what's not working. There's a lot of pain that comes as a teacher. There's a lot of unpleasantness, whether it's from unruly students or the administration or unhappy parents. And there's a desire to kind of want to like just distance yourself from it a little bit, especially if you don't see yourself as a career teacher like me, like, oh, it's just something I'm doing for a short period of time. It doesn't make an impact anyway. A lot of this is just babysitting, which I think actually is true. And yet then you start spending time with the students and yeah, there's students you're probably never going to really like, but even those kids, they're kids and they have a future and you are playing a role in their lives. Though it's important not to overstate that. It's important not to think of yourself as too important. A lot of it is them and you're just one class probably in their whole life. And yet you are a part of their life. You were once a kid too and you remember how terrible teachers can be, how cold and uncaring and ruthless and authoritative and unconcerned with your future. These are real kids that have lives and have parents that care about them, hopefully, and have a chance to do great things and deserve to be given the chance to do their best at whatever this particular thing is that they're learning. And that's just the kids you don't like. Then there's the kids you do like and you form bonds with them and they have personalities and they actually like what they're doing and they want to become good at things and they're looking to you to help them be good at things. And what are you going to do? You're just going to ignore that. You're going to pretend it's just a job. You're going to lean in the fact that it's just a small part of their lives and that English class, in my case, is just one of many things that will be important in their lives, if important at all. Or are you going to see each student as like a real person, just like you with hopes and dreams that has a future and may very well be using the subject material you're teaching, has the chance to take a strong interest in the thing. Maybe it's not about you as much as you think. Some of the most moving moments in my life came out of school, not even necessarily in the classroom, but like at the high school in China I was teaching at, they would do talent shows or performances and just like seeing these kids do their thing and playing instruments and showcasing their abilities and gifts and hobbies and their nervousness on stage. I didn't think it would be as moving, but it's incredibly moving to like be hit with the potency of their youth and their hopes and dreams and their potential. It made it worth struggling through bad administrations and ungrateful parents and behavioral problems and all that stuff. Of course, there are also ways where that can go wrong or people can overstep that relationship, both as a student and as a teacher. I particularly don't like educators who see it as their role to inform their very personal views about personal thought and behavior and conduct outside of the scope of just like maintaining basic functionality of the classroom. I don't really like teachers who think it's my mission to teach them a lesson about life, right? Because that's probably not what your qualifications are upon which you were hired to teach. You know, probably your qualifications are about the subject matter. You're probably not a master of how to be the perfect person or live the best life. That is probably more on the aggregate of all their societal influences, and especially you would hope their parents. Some teachers really want to lean heavily on, you must follow my law, no matter what that law is, even if it's arbitrary, even if it's not helpful to you, even if you're clearly doing all the work related to the material and are clearly learning, just because I'm threatened by you not following my orders exactly to the letter. I will fail you if you don't do things my way, etc. Whereas I think a good teacher actually being rooted in caring about the students, and given that there's no disruption to the classroom, will just be happy to see the student is developing in those ways, rather than seeking the ego boost of blind deference. But maybe that's just me. Overall, I think what makes this such a promising start is that it's clearly more than just a quirky premise. I think as fun as a premise is, it'll end up just being a funny premise that is forgettable unless that heart is there. And this is just an intro, just the first short episode, but I have reason to believe from what I've seen that it's there, and it's very exciting always.